Bruce Lee's hand hovered 3 inches from Muhammad Ali's bare chest. Studio lights burned white-hot overhead, painting stark shadows across the ABC stage. 200 witnesses sat frozen in their seats, the kind of silence that presses against eardrums. Ali stood center stage, arms spread wide like a heavyweight crucifix, his silk shirt discarded somewhere behind Johnny Carson's desk. That famous smirk played across his lips, but his eyes tracked something they couldn't quite follow. Bruce had emerged from the shadows moments before. The audience gasped when they recognized him, the kung fu star moving through blinding television lights with footsteps that made no sound. He wore simple black, compact muscle visible beneath rolled sleeves. The contrast stole breath. Ali towered at 6'3", 216 pounds of boxing perfection. Bruce stood 5'7", weighing barely 130. David facing Goliath, if David moved like water and breathed like stone. 3 cameras rolled live. Red lights blinked their electric witness. Bruce's right hand remained suspended in the charged air between them, fingers loosely curved, wrist cocked at an angle boxers never used. Ali's sternum rose and fell beneath that hovering threat, each breath visible, each heartbeat measured in the terrible stillness. Carson stood frozen beside his desk, mouth half open to speak words that never came. The hand, when it moved, would rewrite everything they understood about speed. Ali's laughter cut through the commercial break like a gunshot. "Johnny, you hear what that little Chinese cat been saying?" He leaned back in the guest chair, hands gesturing wide. "Bruce Lee claims he could take me down." Carson's eyebrows lifted. The makeup lights baked heat into his scalp. "Bruce Lee, the kung fu movie star." Ali grinned, teeth bright under studio glare. "Says martial arts beat boxing." "Well," Carson's tone shifted, carefully casual. "Bruce is actually here tonight, backstage, visiting a friend." The air pressure changed. Stanley Whitmore felt it from the control booth, that electric crackle when fate hands you something unrehearsable. His pulse hammered against his collar. Ali and Bruce Lee, same building, same night, the ratings would explode. He was already moving, headset tangling around his neck as he shoved past the audio engineer. His shoes squeaked on linoleum. The green room lay 3 corridors away, maybe 90 seconds if he ran. Ali's voice echoed behind him through monitor speakers, but Whitmore was done listening. His mind raced faster than his legs. Get Bruce on stage. Manufacture urgency. Create the confrontation before anyone with actual authority could stop it. The green room door appeared ahead, plain wood, innocent brass handle. Whitmore burst through without knocking. Whitmore shoved through the green room door. Bruce Lee sat on the worn leather couch, mid-conversation with an actor friend, tea steaming between them. The scent of jasmine hung in the soundproofed air. He glanced up, expression placid as mountain water. "Mr. Lee," Whitmore's chest heaved from the sprint. "We need you on stage, just a brief appearance." Bruce set down his cup with deliberate care. "I appreciate the invitation, but I prefer to avoid spectacle." The words carried no arrogance, only quiet certainty. Whitmore's pulse hammered against his collar. Imagine watching a ratings bonanza slip through your fingers because of politeness. He leaned forward, lowering his voice to manufactured urgency. "Ali is challenging you, right now, on live television." Bruce's face shifted, not dramatically, but like stone recognizing pressure, his jaw tightened by fractions. The calm in his eyes hardened into something ancient and unyielding. He said this, word for word, a lie so clean it tasted like truth. Bruce stood, smoothed his black shirt, nodded once. "Then I will answer him." Few could have predicted what that single deception would unleash, or how 2 legends would collide under lights meant only for entertainment. The stage lights burned white-hot when Bruce stepped through the curtain. 200 faces snapped toward him. The applause started scattered, then detonated. Cameras swiveled. Carson froze mid-sentence, hands suspended above his coffee mug. Ali rose from the guest chair like a monument coming to life. 6'3", 218 pounds of heavyweight champion, shoulders blocking the backdrop lights, his grin widened, teeth gleaming under the studio glare. Bruce stopped at the edge of the desk, 5'7", 135 pounds. His black shirt hung loose, concealing the coiled muscle beneath. No smile, no bow, just that uncanny stillness, water before the stone breaks its surface. The audience noise died in seconds. Ali's voice cut through the silence, smooth and loud. "So you're the kung fu movie star they tell me about." He tilted his head, examining Bruce like a curiosity. "You really think those fancy kicks can beat the greatest boxer alive?" Carson opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Bruce's expression didn't shift. His hands rested at his sides, fingers loose, breathing slow and measured. The studio air thickened, each second stretching into something fragile. 2 legends, 1 stage, and every witness suddenly understood they were watching something that couldn't be rehearsed, couldn't be controlled, couldn't be stopped. Bruce's voice cut through the tension, calm and measured. "I never claimed I could beat you, Mr. Ali." The audience shifted in their seats, leather squeaking against wood. Different contexts require different skills: boxing, street fighting. Competition versus survival. Bruce's hands remained at his sides. "These are not the same thing." Ali's grin widened, his gold tooth catching the hot stage lights. "Then prove it, little man. Hit me once, full power." "I won't even raise my guard." Carson lurched forward from behind his desk, tie swinging. "Gentlemen, I don't think. Stay out of this, Johnny." Ali waved him off without looking away from Bruce. The smell of Ali's cologne mixed with the electric heat of television lamps. "This is a test. Martial arts versus boxing. Let America see what kung fu really does." Bruce's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "You understand what you're asking. I'm asking you to show me something real." Ali spread his arms wide, chest exposed. "Or admit you're just another Hollywood fake." The cameras kept rolling. No one called cut. What happened next would either validate decades of training or destroy a reputation in seconds. The studio air died. 200 lungs froze mid-breath. Camera operators lowered their equipment. Carson's hand stopped halfway to his desk. The silence pressed down like physical weight, thick enough to drown in. Bruce stepped closer. His voice cut through the stillness, quiet and precise. "In real fighting, there are no volunteers, Mr. Ali, only victims." The words hung between them. "You don't understand what you're asking." Ali's jaw tightened. He lowered his fists completely, arms spreading wide, palms open, his chest exposed beneath the bright stage lights. The champion's stance held zero protection, pure defiance written across every muscle. "Then show me." Bruce's eyes closed for 3 seconds, his shoulders dropped. The tension drained from his frame like water finding level. When his eyes opened again, something fundamental had shifted. The philosophical teacher replaced by the practitioner who'd spent 20 years perfecting destruction through precision. His breathing slowed, deepened. The rhythm of his chest became a metronome counting down to impact. His right foot slid backward 2 inches, weight redistributing with surgical exactness. His hand rose from his side, fingers loose, wrist aligned, elbow chambered at the perfect angle geometry demanded. Ali's heartbeat thundered visible beneath his skin. The strike happened faster than camera shutters could capture. Bruce's fist launched from its coiled position, traversing the 18 inches between them in a fraction of a heartbeat. His knuckles connected with Ali's sternum. A precise, controlled impact that sounded like a drumstick striking taut leather. Ali's chest compressed inward. The champion's breath escaped, a sharp, involuntary gasp that echoed through the silent studio. His body violated every principle of balance, weight shifting backward against his will. 1 step, 2 steps. His polished shoes scraped the stage floor, leaving faint marks on the wood. Shock erased the confidence from Ali's face. Not pain, though his hand rose instinctively to his chest. Not fear exactly. Something else entirely flooded his expression. The raw disbelief of a man who had never encountered motion his eyes couldn't track. Few could understand what he felt in that suspended moment. Ali had faced the fastest heavyweights on earth, absorbed punches from champions whose names filled record books. He knew speed. This was something different. Bruce stood motionless, hand already returned to neutral position at his side, watching the champion's stunned recognition settle across his features. Ali's fingers pressed against his sternum, testing for damage, and his mouth opened to speak. Bruce's voice cut through the studio stillness, quiet but absolute, 20% power. The words landed like stones in water. Ali's hand pressed against his sternum, fingers probing the impact site where warmth still radiated through muscle and bone. Full force, Bruce paused, meeting the champion's eyes. You would not be standing. Ali straightened slowly, breath returning in measured draws. His jaw worked sideways, that trademark processing gesture before interviews turned serious. When he spoke, his voice carried none of its usual thunder. Man, I've fought Foreman, Frazier, Liston. He shook his head, a slow pendulum of disbelief. None of them moved like that. Bruce extended his hand. Ali stared at the open palm for 3 heartbeats, then clasped it. The handshake lasted longer than protocol demanded, calloused fingers gripping with equal pressure, both men acknowledging something words couldn't capture. Carson rose from his desk, applause building behind him like distant thunder. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just witnessed. His voice trailed, searching for adequate language. Television history, but high above the stage, beyond the lights and cameras, a phone in the control booth began ringing with the shrill insistence of incoming authority, and everything was about to change. Richard Vance slammed the phone down. The control booth monitor flickered with Carson's return from commercial break, but the previous segment would never air. Too unpredictable, too dangerous. Sponsors demanded safe television, not martial arts demonstrations that blurred the line between performance and violence. Cut it, Vance barked at the tape operator. All of it. Metal reels spun to a halt. The operator's hands hesitated over the master recording, then complied. Down on the studio floor, audience members shuffled toward exit doors, their murmurs forming a collective buzz of disbelief. Patricia Chen gripped her purse tighter, replaying what her eyes had witnessed. Bruce Lee's hand, faster than thought itself. Ali stumbling backward, chest compressed by invisible force. The handshake that followed, sealing something words couldn't touch. She would remember every detail. The footage, 23 minutes of impossible truth, descended into archive vaults where temperature controls hummed steadily. Canister labeled, shelved. Forgotten by executives who measured risk in advertising dollars. But 200 witnesses walked into October night air carrying what cameras could no longer prove. Some would speak of it at dinner parties. Others would stay silent for decades, protecting the memory like a secret too fragile for disbelief. And in a locked vault beneath ABC Studios, the film waited. Ali spoke of it in hotel rooms where cigar smoke curled toward ceiling fans, his voice dropping to a register few ever heard. He described Bruce Lee's hand as something beyond speed. A motion that erased the space between intention and impact. His friends leaned closer, searching his face for the joke that never came. Ali's eyes held only wonder, the kind athletes reserve for phenomena their bodies cannot replicate. Bruce accepted no interviews about that October night. When reporters pressed, he smiled with the patience of autumn leaves falling, inevitable, unhurried. The demonstration belonged to a moment, not a monument. Few understood what silence preserved better than spectacle. Patricia Chen carried the memory through decades like river stones polished smooth by repetition. She told her daughter, who told her son. Others did the same. The story multiplied through whispered testimony, each retelling adding breath to what censorship tried to suffocate. 2 legends walked separate paths after that night, bound by mutual recognition that some truths require no broadcast. Ali's private admissions and Bruce's public restraint became twin pillars supporting the same invisible bridge. The footage remained sealed in darkness. The witnesses grew old, but memory moved faster than any executive could catch, striking before erasure registered motion.